What if we could solve the world's problems with a single decision? Welcome to the greatest social experiment in history. To understand how a single decision can fix the world's problems, let's break this process down into 3 steps. In step 1, we'll look at the root cause of humanity's problems. In step 2, we'll look at the solution. And in step 3, you will see how a single decision then can fix and address all of these problems. Take a look at this list of problems. As you can see, it is extensive. It includes war, poverty, climate change, extreme wealth disparity, and global population challenges, to name just a few. Well, we can fix all of them. When you trace these problems back to their root cause, you will discover that the root cause is exactly the same. While human ignorance will always be the psychological root cause of our problems, humanity competing against itself is the fundamental system problem in society today. As competition is aggressive, it leads to us versus them divisions.
The trade war took a dangerous turn and is now morphing into what many are calling a currency war. It's all-out economic warfare between the 2 biggest economies in the world, US and China.
But look at the bizarre situation we wind up in. Every state does its own purchasing. So New York is purchasing, California is purchasing, Illinois is purchasing. We're all trying to buy the same commodity, literally the same exact item. So you have 50 states competing to buy the same item. We all wind up bidding up each other and competing against each other, where you now literally will have a company call you up and say, well, California just outbid you. It's like being on eBay with 50 other states bidding on a ventilator.
Thousands of people have been protesting across Germany against the US government's spying program. They also expressed solidarity with Edward Snowden, the whistleblower who exposed the US's mass surveillance of phone and internet records of citizens around the world.
Today, I regret to say, as I leave the Senate, that the greatest obstacle that I see standing between us and the brighter American future we all want is right here in Washington. It's the partisan polarization of our politics.
We have 5 plates.
Alrighty.
This represents everybody in America.
Okay.
So you've got your wealthiest 20% all the way down to your poorest 20%. And that is the American pie.
The pie itself represents about $98 trillion of household wealth in America. We asked people to dole it out as accurately as possible. No one was even close.
So it's actually 9 pieces of pie.
Wow.
Yeah. 90% of the wealth is right here in the top.
That's terrible.
Now, the upper middle class and the middle class, they share 1 piece. So these guys, they've got about 80% of a piece. They get 20% of a piece. And then the lower middle class, they've got 0.3% of a piece. Yeah, they have some crumbs there. There you go. That's what they get. And the poorest, they have no pie. In fact, they have less than no pie. They actually have a bill for pie. They're in pie debt. They owe pie.
People in the poorest 20% are, on average, more than $6,000 in debt.
Published estimate that in second quarter of this year, we're looking at an equivalent of the loss of 305 million jobs. That's an extraordinary figure, isn't it? And it's even more extraordinary if you can consider that just 3 weeks ago, we put the same estimate at 195 million. So we're going downhill still.
Competition also encourages selfish behaviour. As a result, nations will focus on putting their own interests first, regardless of the consequences. The constant focus on national self-interest only exacerbates the problems. Things have become so bad that humanity's behaviour is now also threatening many other species on this planet. The solution to all of these problems is so simple that it may astound you. Here it is. To appreciate the common sense and intelligence of a global model, simply consider the human body. The human body is an excellent example of a global cooperative system in action. The brain helps to manage and regulate the biological interactions of the whole body. Each individual organ, the heart, the lungs, kidneys and liver, all work together in cooperation and mutual support of the whole body. As a result, they all benefit. Now consider what would happen if any individual organ started to compete against the others for its own interests. How long would the body survive? Now, using this example of a healthy global model being the human body, let's compare that to the way society exists today. Society is governed by nearly 200 individual competing nations, each with its own political and economic agenda, and the politics of national self-interest often leads to aggressive behaviour between these nations. The lifeblood of the body is an economic system. However, due to the competitive structure of this system, it pits humanity against itself. As a result, the mind and body have serious health problems, and the blood, or the economy, is toxic. The simple reality today is that we have nearly 200 individual nations that compete against each other for their own political and economic agenda. They lack any common unity and purpose. If we were to report on the psychological and physical health of society, it would look something like this. The patient suffers from an aggressive multiple narcissistic personality disorder while also exhibiting occasional psychotic behaviour and is prone to extreme self-harm and suicidal behavioural tendencies. The patient also has aggressive cancer. Unless its mental and physical health significantly improve, it is not expected to survive. However, by simply adopting a global model based on a shared vision and set of values, where nations cooperate and work together for their common good, global society will make a phenomenal recovery and achieve excellent health. When we make the decision to work together as a people, nations no longer compete against each other. There would be no currency wars, no trade wars, no wars at all. For the first time in our history, humanity would be working together with a shared vision to create a better world for all countries and people. This simple decision will solve the world's problems and significantly improve relations between all countries. Global cooperation will also have phenomenal benefits. Here are just a few to give you an idea. Cooperation and working together will fix the world's problems and improve relations between all countries. Cooperation and working together creates trust, which leads to more open, honest, and transparent behavior. And most importantly, cooperation results in wiser decisions which will benefit all countries equally. Now put all those pieces together. A global model where countries work together for their common good is a supportive model which focuses on the shared interests of all countries. This enhances relationships between countries and allows humanity to directly fix its problems without the politics or self-interest of any individual nation getting in the way. As a result, it protects life on the planet, including our own species. This is an intelligent system which will bring out the very best in humanity. It may also surprise you that moving to a global model is a natural progression in our social evolution as a people. Consider the following. In each of the previous stages of our social evolution, humanity has transitioned to a new model to address the social and population challenges of the previous model. Tribes became local civilizations progressed to nation states. We now live in a global world with global challenges. The next natural step in our social evolution is therefore to move to a more intelligent global model which can address those challenges, like a rapidly increasing global population and the conflicted interests that arise between nation states due to a competitive system. Here is a brief outline about the kind of organization that we need in a global model. You can also find more information at the end of this video. Let's summarize the key points. By competing against ourselves, we create the world's problems. A global model for humanity will provide the foundation for countries to truly work together for their common good. This will fix the world's problems because humanity will now be globally working together to implement ideas which positively benefit all countries and the planet. And effectively, by supporting a global model, we can fix all of the world's problems. If you agree that it's time for humanity to work together to solve its problems, then visit this website to show your support. With your support, Let's take that next step in our social evolution together. Thanks for watching. So what do you think? Do you agree? Disagree? Maybe you have a better idea. You can add a comment below. And if you want to see more videos like this, then subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. See you next time.